Thank you for joining. Today we'll go over Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the perpetual contract for Bybit. And like always, very straightforward, right? So we've been in a massive downtrend here for quite some time actually. And when we zoom out, we can actually notice that a lot of major liquidity has not been tested ever since we lost the $75,000 lows. The next area of liquidity, which we front ran, was 58,800. We got very close to that. Right, the low came in here at 59,800, so $1,000 short of taking those lows. We did hit a daily level, and that's what caused the bounce right here, right? So after we tested the daily on Bitcoin, we bounced up, and now we're just consolidating, looking to possibly sell off and move lower to retest these lows one more time, right? That's definitely the direction I am leaning before possibly getting a bigger move to the upside. Will that happen 100%? Nobody knows, but just based off this price action, it does seem like that's probably the most likely scenario for Bitcoin here in this massive bear market, right? We can also see that the next major area for liquidity to be swept, right? Next major target, in my opinion, definitely comes in around this $52,000 to $49,000 area. But in my opinion, we start getting down that low, there's a very big chance we just fully rotate all the way down to possibly, call me crazy, but 30,000, like I said before, is really my target. The lowest maybe 25,000, and before you say, "Oh, that's crazy," that's still $10,000. Excuse me. Still $10,000 higher than the previous bear market lows, right? It's funny how people think that can't happen, right? Because institutions are involved. Well, you were saying that when price was trading at $126,000. Now we're trading at half of that valuation, right? $67,000. So just because institutions are in on an asset doesn't mean it can't draw down, because they play both sides of the market, right? Institutions make money when price goes up, they make money when price go low, because they're the ones that control the movements of the markets. So they know how to position themselves to make the most gains, and they're making money regardless, right? So some institution just made 51% on that drop, and once they all communicate with each other and they know when it's time to move prices higher, they'll all get rid of their short orders or short positions and load up on longs and ride it up again, right? And then we have to try to determine when is it that they are doing that, and can we join the trend, right? No matter what time frame we look at the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and with this, this little equal extension here, I actually wouldn't be surprised to see price come back up again to make a lower high before moving down further, right? So we could even just say, let's just say that is the low. If the low did come in, right, and we're expecting at least a 50% retracement to the upside before further continuation, right? Something like this, tap that daily, then make our way down further. That could be a, let's see here, a 16% move on Bitcoin to the upside, right? Possibly even 30% to the upside. And what does that mean is that with altcoins, for instance, like XRP, right? Go ahead and hide this. XRP might end up going 50% to the upside, right? 60%, which would bring it right to those highs, previous month's highs, $2.43 before moving lower, right? So if Bitcoin manages to pump 30%, XRP can possibly take out last month's high, which is around 60% before moving lower. That's just how you have to look at stuff there, right? But overall, still very bearish trend. All the previous week's highs are being defended for Bitcoin, right? All the previous week's highs are being defended for Bitcoin, so that's just something to keep in mind. And if you stay along that trend, The only most responsible target would be last week's low, right? So let's go ahead and turn on this really quick. And we're going to go ahead and go into the daily. Can go ahead and remove this. So now looking at the daily for Bitcoin. Still selling off. Attempted to make a higher low right here, but we've now made a lower high once again. So another daily swing high being defended. So my targets for sure would have to be down here at 65,000 for Bitcoin, which would be another 3% drop. So for all coins, maybe another 15% drop to the downside. And that's gonna most likely happen at some point this week, in my opinion, right? Bitcoin moves the markets, and if we do get a bigger move to the downside, then for sure this $55,000 area would have to be the target. All right, just keeping it very simple, very straightforward. If we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that that is also highly likely to happen too as well, right? Very bearish drop, but this has happened on a, see, the thing with this is that it happened on a presidential holiday, right? Or a national holiday, President's Day, I believe. I'm terrible with my holidays, but I believe that's exactly what it is. So this little manipulation might not play out. It can just get a lot of people short, and then price ends up just running higher, right? Because on a 4-hour, it's technically on a uptrend, right? Even though we broke this swing low, it can still make a higher low right here, all right, and then pump higher, right? Tricking out a lot of people. And let's see here, I did update the weekly. Yep, so let's go to the daily. Let me just go ahead and update. I'm actually going to keep this because this is from Friday. I like to keep the Fridays high and low because that's when New York session was open until Monday happens, right? So I used Friday as my previous day over the weekends just because those are typically New York session highs and lows. All right, so that's pretty much it here. Thank you for joining. Gonna go ahead and analyze some more stocks here. Remember to like and subscribe, follow on X, and yeah, I try to post updates as often as possible. But that's pretty much it. Bitcoin still looking for a target of 65,000 throughout the week. If we hold this level, then yeah, pump to the upside, at least to last month's low. 75,000 does seem to be what would make the most sense. All right. So thank you for joining. Like and subscribe, and follow me on YouTube. Comment below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining. Until next time, and take care.